Good evening. Welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep. Welcome to your essay writing session number 2. I hope you had attended the first session, but if you haven't, I will go through the basics quickly. All right. Give me a heads up, those of you who can see me, hear me clearly, and then we can start the session. Can you see me and hear me clearly? Okay, Sindhura, good. Who's this? I can't see the names properly. Roshni. All right. Good evening. Let's start. Yeah. All right. You know that essay writing section is the only descriptive non-MCQ section of XAT. Hello, Sonali. It is not part of the main question paper. After you're done with quant, VL, data interpretation, everything, you're really tired, you get a 5-minute break when you can play around with the keyboard. You can type whatever you want to make sure that all of your keys are working. Do that, because when I think year before last, I had to literally, hammer the keys on my keyboard. All right. Then section B has GK and essay writing, for which you get 30 minutes. GK is easy. We have sessions on GK. Abhimanyu is taking it. And it's pretty easy. If I could do well, you can do well in GK. Okay? Well, actually, I love GK. I'm good at quizzing. But a couple of important events, if you know current events and all, I'm sure Anupam is taking care of it. Now we come to XAT. When will we study about VAT? Immediately after this is over, Shivam, I will take some WAT sessions for everyone. All right. But remember, essay writing basics are the same for XAT and VAT and any other essay writing exam. Only thing is the topics. In CAT, the topics are easier, shorter. In XAT, they are in the form of a quote. But that quote is related to something, again, very current. So you can write a lot about it. So don't worry about what shall I write? What if I get a topic which I don't understand? You will understand it. I know still the SAT admit card is not out. What to do? Do you know that one year, I don't know which year it was, that was supposed to go online way before CAT went online. And I remember I have been teaching CAT and XAT for many years. I'm 20 plus, but well, plus how much you don't need to know. I remember, immediately some student, had gone to the center to teach, and the student said, no, the online exam has been cancelled. It's going to become paper based again. So, yeah, they must have had some serious glitch. Otherwise, they won't take so much time. The essay writing section is only evaluated when you are shortlisted for the second round, which is why I say you should be confident and prepare for the essay writing section. You are not writing the test saying, "Acha, hoga to hoga, tab dekhenge," because that time you don't have a second round. Your essay should be good here when you're writing the main entrance exam, right? So you are preparing here, which will also help you for your WAT sessions, like Shivam was asking, which is the CAT essay writing section. All right. Again, as I told you, most of the topics are based on social and economic issues, current affairs. Normally, they are given as a quote. You are given 2 or 3 topics. Last year, we got 3 topics to choose from. Year before last, there were 2 topics. Before that, from 19 to 21, it was discontinued. God only knows why. All right. And remember, it sometimes mentions the word limit, sometimes doesn't. But in half an hour, out of which 10 minutes will go in the GK section, you actually get 15 minutes to type in your answers. You cannot write or type in more than 250 words. Don't even try. And quality is more important than quality. Having said that, don't just type one paragraph and leave it. All right. Develop your thoughts fully. Make sure your essay has a completeness to it. All right. I will take your questions today. The other day, there were a lot of questions. Now, let's start with last year's. I had asked you to prepare an outline for the first one. But that we will take after I quickly discuss all the basics, and then we'll go to it. I had asked you to read up all three and write an outline for the first topic. I hope you have come ready with it, or at least you read up articles about it. When you read articles about it, suddenly the quote looks easier, right? In the exam, that's the ideal situation. You'd get a quote that you find this is something relevant. I had read something similar in an article some years back, some days back, some months back. I can write about it. All right, that is the key. There were lots of articles in the Hindu, Times of India on India's net zero commitment and how it is going, whether it is beneficial or it will affect the development policies of India, and whether it is fair or unfair. Good evening, Abhinav. Good evening, everybody. All right. So you need, if you read that article, this suddenly becomes easy. What will you do? Talk about net zero commitment. Talk about nations getting together to get this, to get developed and developing nations to commit to a date when they'll say their emissions will be zero. Okay, carbon emissions will be zero. Is that really possible? Is it really fair? Because the developed countries have now reached a peak. They have done all, they have created all the pollution in the world. Having said that, just because they made a mistake doesn't mean we have to follow them, right? So there are so many aspects to it that you can think about. Then, oh yeah, yesterday somebody pointed out somebody with the same IQ, not more or less, I misunderstood. Somebody who's you and somebody have the same IQ, but somebody else is making 10 times as much as you are because they aren't smart enough to doubt themselves. What do you think this is talking about? All right, how do you interpret this statement? I will get back to you on the first step in essay writing is to understand the topic. What do you understand from topic number 3? Once you've understood the topic, then we'll talk of what are the points you're going to use, what are the examples you're going to give. Okay. So tell me the IQ and smart enough to doubt themselves answer. Okay. Then capitalism and democracy cannot coexist. Okay, there you talk about democracy. More importantly, what are democratic ideals? Eventually, it is all about some sort of equality, social, economic, political justice. That's what democratic ideals are about. What is the fundamental thing that drives capitalism? That you use your intelligence, you use your hard work, you make money. There's nothing wrong. So profiteering capitalism encourages maximizing profit. If there are a few individuals who are maximizing profit, can democratic ideals survive? Think of all the great democracies in the world where 10% of the population owns 90% of the resources. Are those democracies? So India, USA, are they really democratic? By democratic, if you mean only fair and free elections every 5 years, then yes. Every 4 years, then yes. But is it only about that? Then you need to talk about democratic ideals if you are going to argue that they cannot coexist. Or you can talk about the latest trends that no capitalism is sheer capitalism. It is more of a mix of socialism too, the kind that Nehru wanted India to get into, right? Not total privatization, but a form of a more egalitarian socialist order. And therefore, they can coexist. So you give examples of that. They're called enlightened, it's called enlightened capitalism. Do you think that happens? Next is a very management oriented topic on the uh, on failure and the role of failure in management practices. Like we don't need people who've never experienced setbacks. So setbacks as part of your experience actually add to your experience, add to your wisdom, add to your capability. Now, the topic you've understood, but how are you going to add points to it? How are you going to add examples? I would suggest one thing. We will take each of these. These can be categorized into what are the political topics we can talk about. One is capitalism versus democracy, right? One is presidential system versus parliamentary system. One is judicial activism, okay, and caste-based politics being the bane of many, race or caste-based politics being the bane of democracy. Think of 3 or 4 good political topics which have been asked over the years. Similarly, in economics, good economics is bad politics, and XAT can put it, XAT always changes the topic, twists it, right? The original saying was man proposes, God disposes. It was changed to man proposes, woman disposes in one of the WAT topics. So economics and politics, like if you want your policies to make sense economically, they will be unpopular on the political fronts. They will not be populist, popular. You will not get popular votes, and those policies which are populist, which win over the public and get you votes, are economically harmful for you, like all the freebies and subsidies that are given before elections. They do harm the financial stability of a state. They're getting into the state coffers. Where are they getting money for all the freebies that they are giving? So that is one of the topics they can give. Think of such topics and read up about it. So any topic related to these issues, you can write about it, right? Nature and technology, development versus environment, development versus environmental sustainability, a very, very common topic, which is the same as technology and nature are natural enemies. The more technologically advanced the nation is, environmental damage is that much, because every technology, including the so-called EVs, require lithium batteries, and these lithium batteries, how do you dispose it of? They are causing more problems to the environment in the long run. And then you have certain topics which are listening is a dying art, the best things in life are free, the best things in life are intangibles, they cannot be measured, they cannot be seen. Best things in life are not things. If you get topics like that, they sound like cute topics, but you really need to think, how am I going to answer these topics? Here, so P1 in any topic, in any essay writing, the first step is to, since it is looking at your ability to analyze an issue and express your ideas clearly about it, understand the topic. What is the issue at hand? And the best way to do it is restate it in your own words. What is it asking? Put it into the form of a question. Okay, corruption is the root cause of economic slowdown in India. Okay, what is the question asking? Corruption. What is corruption? Root cause. Is it a root cause? Okay, there's another topic which says corruption is the lubricant for development. Okay, so that is another topic on corruption. Is it really bad, or is it a lubricant? Kaam jaldi jaldi ho jayega, which aids development. Do you agree with it? All right. So first thing is, of course, to understand the topic. Step number 1. Keep in mind when you write your essays, language should be simple, sentences should be short. Makes them correct. If your natural, or let me put it in another way, your natural style of writing. Okay, but definitely please don't write in bullet points. It should be a free-flowing essay. You've got so used at work to write it in bullet points. that many essays, when students used to give it to me, I miss this part, especially this time of the year. When I take essay classes, students, I would make them write in paper, different introductions, different one topic. I used to tell them write the introductions, and I used to make them read it out in class, and we would discuss. Another, I used to ask them write the body of the essay, at least write the main points. इसमें क्या होता था, we could understand what each one was doing. And sometimes they would give me a paper which had all the points very nicely written, bullet point, presentation style, concise, but it should be a free flowing essay. Don't write bullet points. Each point you can nicely write in the form of paragraphs. All right. And remember, relevance and support points, otherwise your points are only opinions. So you have to back up your points with relevant examples, with relevant data. All right. Each paragraph, introduction will be one paragraph. Be very clear. I will restate the topic in my own words and give my opinion about it right at the beginning. Some people ask, should I give it right at the end? What if you didn't have the time? So I say right at the beginning, you give the reader or examiner an idea of where you're going. Then build your points in paragraphs 2, 3, maybe 4, and then sum up all your points in a conclusion. That's the clearest way. Whether you know enough or not, one glance at your essay and you'll say, this student has a very logical, clear way of stating facts. इसे पता भी चल जाएगा एक ही fact लिखा है, दो ही fact लिखा है, but at least I admire your style, your lucidity of your style. Like, it's really clear. It's very nice. Yeah, maybe he or she didn't know enough about the topic. So what? That would be the attitude. At least that would be my attitude. Okay. So the steps in writing the essay, let's go back to what is that? That nature and technology are enemies. All right. So first question, this is a yes or no question. This can be a discuss question, right? So what is it asking you? What is the topic asking you? Put it in 2, 3 different ways. Type it for me. Nature and technology are enemies. Cannot, businesses cannot succeed. Ethics do not lead to success. What was the ethics topic? Ethics and sustainability. Ethics versus sustainability. Okay, so restate any of these topics. Ethics के बारे में क्या topic? I forgot. See, one sec. Let me go back. We'll look at these two. Okay. Ethical practices and 2018 का topic देख लो. Ethical practices and sustainability, do they coexist? Ethical practices and sustainability, do they coexist? Technology and nature are natural enemies. Okay, these two topics. All right, put it in some, restate the topic. How are you going to write it in the introduction? Tell me quickly, guys. We are discussing, this is going to get your brain cells active. Ethical practices and sustainability, can they coexist in a business? The second one is technology and development. Technology and nature are natural enemies. What are you going to write about this? What are you going to write in the introduction? First, how are you going to restate the topic in your own words? Quickly type in, because this is the biggest constraint of online essay writing class, that I can't make you write. So give me as briefly as possible any one of the topics. Put it in your own words. Challenge yourself to think and write ethics and sustainability or nature and technology. You see a topic, put it in your own words. And give me an introduction. Akshita, there is a very nice session taken by one of our mentors on all the symbiosis institutes. Please watch that. All right. Okay, quickly, let me get ethics and sustainability in business. Can it coexist? How are you going to start off on the topic? Good evening, Abhishek. Or nature and technology are natural enemies. Do you agree? So both of this are can be made into an agree disagree topic. Now remember, if the topic is an agree disagree, if I agree, can you give me at least 2 points and 2 examples to support for each of these? So in you would say, I think yes, ethical businesses are sustainable in the long run. Okay, in fact, ethics helps a business become more sustainable. Give me 2 points and 2 examples. In the so first paragraph will be intro, second and third will be points and examples, and the fourth where you conclude that there are, of course, many who believe that ethics and sustainability cannot coexist due to this reason. Any reason which goes against sustainable ethics not helping sustainability. Then you conclude, but because of these reasons, I think as ethics and sustainability can coexist. So, in an agree disagree answer, the essay becomes very clear where you first give your viewpoint, yes, they can coexist. Then you develop your point as to why they can coexist in second and third paragraph. Then you conclude by saying, of course, there is the other side to the coin that they cannot coexist because of this reason. But because of the reasons I have given, they can coexist, and you end it. Can coexist as they often play a crucial role in sustainable practices, ensuring that decisions taken for the well-being of the environment, society, and future generations. Excellent, Abhinav. Now, what you need to do, this is going to be Abhinav's introduction. Yes, they coexist because when you take ethics lead to sustainable practices, because they take into account the decisions are taking, keeping in view the environment, society, and future generations. Therefore, in a way, ethics actually lead to sustainable businesses. Now, fantastic. You've started the innings with a sixer. How are you going to sustain that energy? Give examples of companies which have followed ethical practices and have sustained in the long run. Give examples of CSR. Give examples of companies which are known for their ethical practices and which have done well in the long run. And you can also counteract that with examples of companies which have tried to cut corners on ethics and have which has led to their doom. Right? Got it? So the key is understand the question, think of all the points you know about the questions. More importantly, think of examples and data that you can give to support your points. Okay? Once you've done that, then think of a good outline. I'm going to start like this, the way Abhinav gave a very good introduction. You'll say, I'm going to start my introduction. In my body, I'm going to give 3 points supporting, 1 against, and then I'm going to conclude. Got it? What about nature and technology are natural enemies? Anybody for that? Anybody for nature and technology are natural enemies? Again, what examples are you going to give? And how are you going to build your essay? Okay. Remember, essay writing the skill you cannot develop overnight. Speaking is fine, but you have to sit down and write. That is important. Now, because last year I knew there's no way I'm going to get selected, so I wrote my essay properly. Okay, I typed in my essay. Nobody would have read it. Only I would have read it. But then the key is I realized that I was running dry. I was running short of ideas after preaching everything to you. After 3 hours of exam, you do get tired. So get into the practice of writing at least 2 essays before you go for the exam. 2 is actually too little, but you have other things to practice as well. Nature and technology can't be called true enemies, as technology helps in Preserving nature. Excellent introduction, Arushi. So your essay is going to be that they are not natural enemies because technology helps in preserving nature. Now your second point and third point is, how does technology help to preserve nature? Then your conclusion would be, why has this topic, however, this topic of nature and technology being natural enemies is being discussed because of the damage technology has done to nature, with realization that with advancing technology we're damaging nature. Now the latest technologies, the state of art technologies, are generally green technology. We've realized how much damage we've done to the environment with technology. So now we are coming up with technology which will preserve nature rather than destroy nature. And that's how you end it, with lots of examples. All right. I agree that nature and technology are natural enemies. See, global warming, climate change, pollution. Technology is at best causes nature's destruction. So here we have Arushi saying technology helps to preserve nature, and then Rohini saying no, no, no. Look at what technology has done to nature. That is the more common line. Now, don't think what line should I make. Whatever strikes you. Now, Rohini has to give examples of how technology has destroyed nature. Take examples of the factories, the mills, industrialization. Industrialization has led to so much pollution, the hole in the ozone layer, the carbon emissions, resulting in warming, climate warming, which has changed, global warming, which has changed climate patterns, and many things. Unless some, and it's come now that we have to deal with this damage that technology has done to nature. We have to deal with it on a war footing. Otherwise, the changes might become uh, unchangeable, in the sense that we cannot get it back. They may become permanent. So we have very little time. Without meaning to sound alarmist, this is what it is leading to. And then you can give examples of the climate body, the international conferences, which are asking nature's countries to come to their zero emission targets as soon as possible. Okay, to keep the warming to a limit. Instead of 2 degrees it's expected, keep it at least to 1 degree or 1.5, whatever is the number. I'm not good with remembering numbers. All right, I disagree. Abhishek says, I disagree that nature and technology are enemies. Technology can be used to safeguard nature. Future of organic farming, you will give that as a organic farming and other things as a support. Excellent. Okay, if also you can say, if technology has led to global warming, it is the same technology which can check global warming and ensure how to survive in a globally warmer world. All right, technology exists, there's always harmful effects, factories and other development practices. True, Gaurav. Gaurav says that wherever there is technology, there is damage to nature. All right. So you come up with examples and then come up with, so therefore it is correct to say that they are natural enemies. At the same time, we need the same technology to now repair the damage that we've done to nature, or something like that. All right. Excellent. Excellent. I am so happy with your one is, of course, the typing speed. I'm a one finger typer, but you're the modern generation. All right. Yesterday's topic. Did you all read up anything about risk essential for the soul, but absence of risk? Itna bada sentence hai ye. Did you read up about it? Anybody? And what was your what are some of the points that come to your mind when we talk of uh, how risk is an essential part of human nature? It should become a part of human nature. How risk is not necessarily bad. Do you agree with it? If yes, then why? And if not, why not? That lack of risk leads to paralysis of action, just like fear leads to paralysis. Same way, lack of risk also leads to a boredom, which leads to paralysis of action. So the first topic last year, that risk is essential for the soul. The absence of risk produces a kind of boredom which paralyzes in a different way from fear, but almost as one. All right. So, anybody read up about it? Any articles? Plenty there. I first wanted to give you all links, but then there were so many books on risk. I said, now how am I going to give them books for this? And so, but basically, what are the points you're going to touch upon? What are the points you would like to mention in this? Assume you don't know anything about it. Assume this reading nahi hua hai, which is again also ideal, which is also the test scenario. I told you, ideal scenario is where you know what the topic is, you read enough about it, you can write about it. But the test, there are two things. One is it's a timed test. Second, you have no clue, so you're not prepared on any topic. Just whatever you've read in the past few months as part of your reading comprehension practice, whatever is there. So assume those students who have no idea that I had given this, I had asked you to read articles on this topic yesterday. You are not there yesterday. Then, but still you can tell me what you will write about this. First, how are you going to restate the topic? And what are you going to put in the outlines? What is risk taking according to you? Is risk taking the same as recklessness? That is number one. Would you talk about risk? If you don't take risks, what are the likely consequences? If you take risks, what are the consequences? Benefits and other consequences. Some of these points, think on these lines. What is risk taking? In your own words, tell me. How is risk? What is the meaning of risk? What does risk taking mean to you? How would you define risk taking or risks? Is it stepping out of your comfort zone, or is it being reckless? Is it being impulsive, not thinking at all? Aage na dekha, piche na dekha, kood pada. Is it that? Or is it about stepping out of your comfort zone, doing something new, but after a careful analysis? So that is called taking calculated risk. Ise lunga, so if it works, this is what will happen. I am going to be where I want to be. But if it doesn't work, I'm going to be at the same place, or I may face this as a consequence. Can I cope with this? Will this destroy me? If it does, then I'm not going to do it. But if it is something that I can live with because it's not much different from where I am now, maybe I better take the risk, right? But if you don't take the risk, what will happen? You can write both ways. So basically remember, you do not, in fact, XAT does not ask you, do you agree or disagree? It just gives you the topic and says discuss. So you can use any method. I said agree, disagree makes it easier for you to think of the points. But you can write it in any which way. Just make sure there's a clear order. There are both sides to it. If you want to write that in the introduction. That there are both sides to it. Let's look at both the sides. So the benefits are these, the negatives are these, and sum it up at the end. All right. In fact, risk. All right, technology has both affects and helps nature. Adversely affects nature, it can also help nature. So that is the stand you're going to take. Make it clear in the introduction itself. And then build your argument for how it adversely affects nature. Second, how it benefits nature. Finally, sum up your argument as to whether you finally think they are natural enemies or they are like any two friends who both help and harm each other. Okay, you can do that. Times of India for a long time ran a series of articles. I don't know if it still comes. Perspectives and counter perspectives. So on any issue, they'll have one person supporting an issue, one person giving the other side, and there is one person who plays the middle line. Often I tell students to be very to say either one or the other, because it makes your writing clearer. But if you have equal number of points for both, you can write like this also, absolutely fine. Risk helps in understanding and getting familiar with the route one has to take to have a better understanding and make use of the opportunity. Or thoda easy bana do yaar Abhinav, I didn't understand it, thoda make it easier. Nothing is certain in life other than death and taxes, which means that everything we do requires some risk. In life, there is nothing like real safety. Excellent. Abhinav, make that easier for me to understand. Risk helps you make best use of your opportunities that are given to you. Okay, that sounds much better. All right. Okay, then what are you going to write about it next? What will you add after that? Think about it. All right. Okay. Now, what do I want? Any questions? I will answer it. But what I want you to do is this PPT has all the topics of the last 5 years. Please time yourself to 15-20 minutes. Okay. First, quickly think of the topic for 2-3 minutes. Make an outline for a minute and then type in the rest 12 minutes. And please make sure you type an essay for 12 to 15 minutes, at least 2 or 3 before the exam. And I'm being very lenient. I would love it if you can write an essay on every topic. If you don't know anything about the topic, read an article about it and write, because these are essentially, you are having an idea on what kind of topics they give. One on poverty for sure. All right. Politics for sure. And I told you in politics, what are the things they can ask you? Because there is so much war in the air, there will be a general quote on war. You know, the most important, the one poignant one being what Einstein said, that we'll start fighting with sticks. And I don't know about the next world war, but if there is a fourth world war, we people will fight with sticks and stones. So the entire thing will be that we'll go back in time. There will be nothing left. Okay. Or something about in war, there is no right. Right? There is no right in case of a war. It's in the end, it's only who is left. All right. And the threat of war has become so much worse because of the threat of nuclear war, anything that can be asked. So a general one on war, a general one on politics. Also related to the war, I think this year, the relevance of world bodies like the United Nations might be a topic. So read up some articles about this. At least type out essays on 4 or 5 of the topics for which you find it difficult to write an outline. So I would actually suggest go in reverse chronological order. Last year ka to ek ho gaya, risk wala ho gaya. If you're done, then try to write an outline and say, I can write an essay on this. The one that you find most difficult to write about, you say this is going to be challenging. Choose the most challenging topic of last year, make an outline, read up about it, and type an essay for 10 to 12 minutes. See how you're doing. Do that for at least 3-4 topics. You'll find that your fingers will fly on the keyboard on the day of the exam, and I hope you will say good things about me when that happens. All right? That's what you should do. All right? All of you clear? Any questions for me? That's a very nice introduction, Arushi. Nothing is certain in life other than death and taxes. Absolutely true. All right. No real safety. So risk is inherent in human nature. You're taking a risk every time you step out. So there is nothing wrong in taking a risk, but just risk is not the same as recklessness. Remember, every book I have read have made a difference between risk taking and impulsive action. They said risk, when you're talking of risks that you're taking in both professional and personal life, it is, we normally take calculated risks after thinking of the pros and cons of a situation. After that, if things don't work out the way you want it to, you have an objective, you want to reach it, so you're going out of your comfort zone, you're trying to get it. If you don't, then you should be prepared for the other things. Very nice, Rohini. Very nice introduction. All right. So keep writing. The more you write, the better you get at it. They say good writing is rewriting. So the moment you practice, see, most of you have lost the habit of writing. I think after 10th grade or 12th grade, you didn't write anything more than an email or one of those LOL kind of things. ROFL, LOL, whatever other things you people write. So the very idea of, putting your thoughts in words and typing in 250 words is a huge exercise. Get into that practice first. The answers will flow. I've seen the kind of answers you've given, and it encourages me a lot. So I think all of you will do well, provided you leave your inhibitions behind. Many of you did not type in saying, oh my God, everybody will write. Ma'am will read it aloud. What? So what? My reading it is better than the examiner reading it for the first time. Get into the habit of writing and rewriting at least 3-4 essays last 3 years ka on the topics I told you. All right, something on the relevance of world bodies, on war in general, on poverty, on corruption, judicial activism, 5 or 6 of them. Next world war will use pen and media, not even pen, just technology. All right. You talk about changing times, that with each war is essentially nations using the technology of that time, the state of art technology, to counter the other person. Somebody else said that the next war will be fought in space, because right now people are thinking of space mining. So that is another one. Very nice first few lines, Gaurav. Taking risk is essential for the soul. It challenges our mind, our abilities, and our capabilities in a given situation, and it helps us go ahead. Excellent. All right. Okay. Any other questions? Very nice introduction, Gaurav. The last part, I know you've written half, but the first part is excellent. Between humans and robots. So you're talking of the negatives of artificial intelligence and machines taking over the world. True. Can you write an essay on that? Oh, that is another one. AI and its benefits and the danger it poses to us without proper regulations. Do that. Read up on AI. That's one more you should do. So poverty, corruption, AI, war, relevance of international bodies, these are some of the topics you should be reading upon. All right. And keep reading all the editorials of, for the last 1 month. Look at what editors pick the most current event and analyze it. So choose the newspaper, whichever newspaper you're subscribing to, Hindu, Indian Express, Times of India. Read the editorial of the day, op-ed page. You'll find longer articles. Read those and you'll have an idea on what is the what are the burning topics now. All right. Listening is a dying art. We hardly listen to understand. We only listen to refute or reply. Now, if you have a topic like this on listening, you talk about the difference between listening and hearing. All right. You can also talk of, the Chinese have a particular word for it, I forget, which say you listen with your ears, you listen with your eyes, you listen with your heart and your mind. So 4 or 5 different types of listening. What are we doing now that we are not doing any of that kind of listening? So one is empathizing with the other person. Other is being compassionate to the other person, trying to relate to the other person. Here we are only listening as to argue and to counter the point of others. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Think of all the debates on social media. Are we really debating issues? Think of debates that are happening in parliament. Are they really talking about the real issues? Are they talking of the pros and cons? So what is listening all about? Understanding the other person's point of view. In fact, when they do listening exercises. They actually put you, uh, one of the case studies that they did in Xavier's for us was they put us in pairs and they asked, they paired us on the basis of our opposite opinions on topics. So, for example, they asked us like, do you think it is uh, a child should be disciplined, or one should be very lenient with the child? So one says no, no, one should discipline a child. If required, one should beat the child. And another one says no, totally no, nobody should ever touch a child. You should never hit a child. So let's say one student agreed with A and one with B. So they now put you opposite each other. You are your partners. You are supposed to listen to why that other person has a diametrically opposite view to you, understand his point of view, and then summarize his point. So listening is about understanding the other person's point of view, whether you agree or disagree. Then the same thing happens with the other person. He looks at your point of view. In the end, what happens is like a dialectical argument that is happening. You get the best points of divergent points of view and come to a conclusion. But is that happening? We don't. Most of the time, we feel our opinion is right. Correct? We feel only our opinion is right. We don't care about the other person's opinion. So the only reason we ask that other person's opinion is to counter him and tell him you're wrong. Can you give examples of this? What happens? Why was group discussion removed for most MBA entrance exams? Because you people did not listen. You only wanted to speak. And then you go on and speak about that. Speak about what happens in parliamentary debates, what happens in public debate, what happens in generally what is happening on social media now. You can give those three examples and talk about how listening is really being a dying art. All right. Can you tell? Okay, done. How to improve accuracy in XAT VARC? Practice past year papers, attend our sessions, Gaurav. And generally, again, as I said, accuracy, XAT VALR is essentially about, I think, 15 questions out of 26, is it? On RCs. So your RC has to be good. Read the passage properly. Most XAT passages are conclusion or inference based. That means you have to understand exactly what has been said in the passage and then sum up that point of view. When you eliminate options from 5 and you get the 2 close options, read each and simplify in your own words to see which one is closest to what you think is the right answer. All right. That fill in the blanks and grammar is actually not very hard. If you're good at prepositions, those 2 questions on grammar, you definitely score well. Fill in the blanks. Again, you have to understand the intended meaning of the author. They are not difficult words. If there are 2 fill in the blanks, one may have 1 or 2 difficult words, but it is just the first 2 blanks that you need to concentrate on. Even if it's a 4 blank fill in the blanks, the first or the second blank itself will help you solve the question. All right. Mukesh, in that you have to type it in. All right. The essay is, you have to type it in. After the main test, you will be given a short break when they ask you. So you will get instructions. Type in, they'll give you a sentence. They'll ask you type it in to make sure that your keyboard is okay. After you're done with that, you next say, yes, I am ready to start my start section B, and then section B appears. All right, so computer and typing. So mercifully, nobody is going to has to worry about their handwriting. CAT, before the interview, the IIMs used to ask you to write on a piece of paper. I don't know if a WAT, what is being done now. Okay, if it is done remotely or interviews, then I guess you can type it in. But if it's face to face, that piece of paper maybe. I don't exactly know what they did last year. All right, any other questions or are we done? I will see you again in January to sum up tomorrow, day after Saturday, Sunday. I don't have classes, but you have classes by Saral. Make sure that, oh, Vikrant is taking ACR. Make sure you attend that. We've tried to again include all good critical reasoning questions. Abhimanyu and you can ring in the new year with some good general knowledge questions, and at least 3 or 4 questions he gets every year. Then you welcome the new year again with Saral, and on 3rd, Salik will do a GK crasher with you. I will try to include one more decision making class. If possible, I'll try to bring in one more essay class. I'm not sure of the essay, but I can do one more decision making class for y'all before that happens on the 7th. Okay, because the Sunday turned out to be 2nd of January, turned out to be very close to the new year, right? So, all right. Uh, Enroll in our OMET courses and don't forget to join us on January 7th for first impressions and a detailed analysis of that. All right. All the best to all of you. Have a wonderful new year in case I don't see you before that. Uh, and I will meet you next year. That sounds wonderful. All right. Okay. And I will remain my 20 plus years only. All right. See you all the best. And I loved the short bits of intro that you wrote. I think you're all going to write very good essays. All right. Take care. Bye bye. But make sure you practice enough before the exam. All right. Okay. See you then. Bye bye.